and they were my bosses, so I had my cell phone turned off. And during the lunch hour, I got in my car and I drove to the market and got back in my car after buying my lunch and checked my voicemail. I had 2 messages, and the first was from my agent saying, "Call me back, we just got an offer on your book." And it was this moment that I had been looking forward to for 12 years. I've been looking forward to every time this book got sent out. And I had so overhyped the moment. I've seen plenty of movies. I know it's supposed to happen. There's mariachi band supposed to come down the street and serenade you or something. But it was just this moment of quiet, of, wow, I'm going to be published. And then I checked my voicemail again, my second message, and it was my agent again saying, "Now you really need to call me back. We just got another offer on your book." And the next day, another offer came in. That's very rare, but super cool. But the problem was that I had to go back to work for 4 hours with a couple of librarians who would love to know I just sold my first book, but I always knew that the first person I should tell is my wife. She should be the first person. And so I get back to work, and the librarians, of course, they ask, "How was your lunch?" And I know they love to know, but I can't say, so I just said, the sandwich is really dry. Ask me tomorrow about today's lunch. And they're like, whatever. So I called my wife and I said, "When you get off work, meet me at Laguna Lake." I always had this plan. I wanted to tell my wife I sold my first book at the same spot where we got married.
Aww.
That's what I was expecting. But my wife, she's kind of this workoutaholic, and she already made plans for that night. She was going to go running on the beach. And I said, "You can go running at the lake." And she said something ridiculous about wanting to feel like salty air blowing through her hair in slow motion or something. I said, "Would you dress me at the lake?" And she said, "Fine." And I said, "Fine." And we both hung up really frustrated. And so we're both in our separate cars driving towards the lake. And I realized, this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. I really should document this. And this was before camera phones. So I pulled into a 7-Eleven and I bought a disposable camera, put it in my pocket, get to the lake. I walked my wife to this very same spot where we got married. And I said, 4 years ago right here, I said, "I do. And today I want to say thank you." She said, "Thank you for what?" And I said, "For helping me sell my first book." She went, "What?" And she pounded me in my chest. I went, and she buckled over, started bawling her eyes out, which was the perfect time to pull out the camera. This was honestly one of the best afternoons of my life. We were just leaping over benches, we were running around, we were playing tag, going, "You're it, yeah, you're it. We can both be it." We thought, let's do this again. So we went out, we bought a bouquet of flowers, and we went to my parents' house. And my mom's a nurse, and so sometimes she works a night shift, and my dad's very protective of my mom's sleep. So we get there, my dad says, "Don't look at your mom, she's working tonight." And I'm standing here with a bouquet of flowers, and my wife's behind me with a camera. It's like, something cool is about to be revealed. And my dad's like, he talks very softly and very slowly when he's really upset. He says, "Don't wake up your mom, she's working tonight." So I said, "Dad, what's going to happen is I'm going to go down the hall, go into your room, and wake up Mom. And you can stay here, or you could follow us." So my dad chased us down the hallway. We broke into the room. This is my mom crying, and this is me looking really satisfied at my dad. The slight glitch in my plan was that when my mom first woke up and saw the flowers, she thought we were saying she was going to be a grandma for the first time. And I had to say, "I just sold my first book." And there's this long pause. She's like, "Oh, you know what? That's really good. You should be proud of yourself." So just because I've spent 3 years writing the book and because I've had 4 people help me improve it and polish it, doesn't mean that the publisher is not going to want some changes as well. And the first one they told me about, which was our very first conversation, was we're thinking of changing the title. Originally, I was calling it Baker's Dozen. And that had been the title for 3 years. That was the book to me. I couldn't imagine anything else. I said, "Well, what are you thinking of calling it?" And they said 13 Reasons Why. And I thought, that's a stupid title. 13 Reasons Why what? And they're like, "That's the point, to get people to pick up the book and find out." There was nothing they could have suggested that would have made me like it. Baker's Dozen was the title. And I was arguing it. I even at one point said, "Can we just drop the Y and call it 13 Reasons? I think the Y makes it sound way too feminine." What? That makes no sense. But I was just going to argue it. And eventually they said, "It's going to be called 13 Reasons Why. Hopefully you can start to at least like it." Now I love it. I think it's the perfect title. But at first, I just didn't make any sense.